Hello, I'm Jyotika. Welcome to this lesson in which we are going to discuss the answers for May June 2025, Paper 1, Variant 2. I will try to cover as many answers as possible in this part of the lesson, but I don't think I'll be able to cover all the answers because, as you know, there are many answers to go over. So I will break this lesson into parts and I will keep linking the new parts available in the description box and pinned comment below. I'm a private tutor for psychology. So if you need psychology classes, you can contact me on my email ID or phone number given below in the description box and pin comment. I have covered many such paper solving videos before. So you can visit the AS playlist on my channel and you'll find many such videos there. In this lesson, I will be explaining to you why the answers that we see on the screen are considered model answers, why they achieve full marks. So, basically, what should be your strategy while writing different answers? That is what I will take you over in this lesson. Okay, let's begin with the first question. I intend to keep this lesson as brief as possible. In the study by Perry et al., Personal Space, experiment 2 used four colored pictures of a room. In these pictures, there were several objects, including a lamp and a clock. Name one other object that was always in the pictures. When you look at such a question, you have to make note of the command term, which is name in this case, and the marks allotted, which is 1. Name and identify are two command terms which require bare minimum answers, literally one word answers, and they always carry 1 mark per point. So here one object is asked for, so 1 mark has been allotted. You can write a complete sentence like one other object was this, but the examiner is just going to look at the word you have given as the name of the object. So literally they're going to see whether you've given the correct word and they're going to give a mark for that. So it's advisable that you just answer in one or two words. Now, what else you need to note before answering is other object has been asked for. As obvious as this might seem, many students are not going to read the question carefully. They are not going to note other. They are just going to write whatever is given on the question. So they're going to write lamp and clock. Also, many students, they'll read in a haste, so they'll not make note only of which objects were mentioned in the question. They end up giving the same. You're definitely going to get 0 if you give lamp or clock for this answer because it's clearly written other object. Also, only one object is asked for. You can give multiple, but the examiner will credit only one. They will not deduct marks for giving multiple objects, but they won't give you any extra credit either. So don't waste your time. Write one definitive answer and move ahead. Here you can see in this model answer only one word is written chair. It is correct. It was an object in the situation. So the examiner will quickly give 1 mark here. Let's look at the next question. Outline how the participants were deceived in experiment 2 of this study. If we look at the command term again, it's outline. Outline is a step ahead of name or identify. You have to give a description. Solely 1-2 word answers will not suffice when it comes to outline. You can see 2 marks have been allotted, which also suggests that you have to write more than what you did in the previous answer. Now, how can you justify 2 marks is by giving 2 points. When they ask you about deception in any question, like right now it's Perry et al., but no matter for which study they're asking, the 2 points always have to be what was the deception that was done. So, first you just outline, like specify how participants were deceived exactly. For example, did they have to do some task which they were not told about, or were they given some instruction which was misleading? Just specifying the context of the study. For the next point, this is what most students miss, and that's why they get only 1 mark on these type of answers. For the next point, specify what was the real purpose. Always for deception. It's not enough to say this is what they were misled about, because that does not make it clear what was the true purpose. So we cannot like contrast and see, okay, this was what was actually there and this is what they are being told about. So make sure that contrast is obvious. Just keep these two things in mind and easily you can get 2 marks. Some students give very standard type of responses, like what we call generic. They'll mention what was the deception, then they will say this was done to reduce demand characteristics. One core principle which is maintained throughout the paper is contextualization. Every answer, every point that you give should be specific and relevant to the study being asked. When you write something generic as this reduces demand characteristics, that is something you could write for any study, not only the one which is asked for. So avoid giving such points. Also, one more thing you have to be careful about, as I was saying, some students are in too much haste. Questions should be read very patiently and very carefully. It's worth taking the time to read in carefully, because many students will not note that this is being asked in context of experiment 2. Though it's very obvious in Perry et al., the deception is in experiment 2. But still, some students will try to make up some point from experiment 1 and present it as a deception. When this paper had come out, there were a few students who wrote that participants did not know whether they were administered oxytocin or placebo. Now, when asked, why are you writing such an answer? Because that is double blinding, that is not deception. They said that they didn't read the question carefully. They thought experiment 1 is being asked about, and then they just made up anything to indicate like how possibly deception must have been done. So very easily these type of careless mistakes can be avoided by reading the question carefully. So always read, especially for Perry et al., which experiment they're asking you about. Here you can see in the model answer, the participants were told that at the end of the experiment, they would discuss personal topics with another person in the room as chosen by the computer. So, here the candidate has explained what was the deception. Like, this is the deceptive instruction given to the participants. But then they've also specified what was the real purpose of doing this experiment. The real purpose was to measure their preferred personal space. This part is very important, which most students miss out on. Now the examiner will see that, okay, deception done is specified, real purpose is given, they will award 2 marks. Let's look at the next part. Outline one result from experiment 2 of this study in relation to the hormone oxytocin. This is again outlined, so give 2 points to justify 2 marks. So that remains from the previous answer. What you have to note carefully over here in this particular question is the result has been asked very specifically in relation to oxytocin. No doubt there is an interaction of oxytocin and empathy in this study, so you will end up saying something about empathy. But don't give it only in terms of empathy, or don't give it only in terms of chair angles versus distance. Like, say, the researchers did not include angles because they were found to be insignificant. You have to talk about oxytocin if they have asked specifically about it. If you're going to avoid oxytocin and mention about anything else, you're not going to get any marks. In relation to oxytocin, if empathy is playing a role, you can mention it. But by itself, the result should not be about empathy. Another thing is in experiments, again, a general rule, results always comparative or they are relative. There is an oxytocin group, which is the experimental group, but there is also a control group, which is the placebo group. So, whatever result you see in the oxytocin group for interpretation, you always compare it with the placebo group. You will have to specify something about the placebo group. They don't need to mention that, but that is understood. And again, the same thing, this is being asked for experiment 2, not for experiment 1. So if you're going to write anything about the protagonist, preferred interpersonal distance, CID paradigm, you're going to get 0 because they have asked about experiment 2. One more, like general misconception, which is then psychology students, grace marks will be awarded. At least I've written something. I've written about experiment 1, so I'll get some marks, even if that is not what was exactly asked about. There's no such concept. There's a fixed mark scheme. According to the mark scheme, marks are awarded. There's nothing about experiment 1 for this type of a question on the mark scheme. You're going to get 0 if you write anything from experiment 1. There are no grace marks that will be given. Okay, so if you don't know about experiment 2, just don't waste time. Go to the next question, but don't waste time writing about experiment 1. Okay, here they have written that participants in the high empathy group who were given oxytocin chose to arrange the chairs at a significantly closer distance compared to those in this group who were given placebo. Now, what are the 2 points over here? First, specifying the result, closer distance of the chairs. That will be counted as 1 point. Second is clear comparison with the placebo group. That is the second point. In relative terms, the result has been given. Like I said, it's inevitable to mention empathy because the whole manipulation is an interaction of empathy and oxytocin. But you cannot write it independently of oxytocin. So here for 2 points, the candidate gets 2 marks. These were the questions on Perry et al. Now let's look at the next part of this section. These questions are from Pozzulo et al. From the study by Pozzulo et al., identify two features of the female used as a human face target. As I was telling you at the beginning, name and identify are interchangeable. You just have to give one word answers. This time, 2 points are asked for, like two features, so 2 marks are being awarded. The student has written correctly, Caucasian student, like both points are valid, they get awarded 2 marks. Let's look at the next question. Explain one strength of the study in relation to reliability. Explain as a command term definitely requires elaboration, not 1 2 word answers, full sentences. Also, 2 marks are awarded, so the same rule, 2 points. Now, what most students will make a mistake here, one strength, Pozzulo, they'll start writing any strength. If the strength has nothing to do with reliability, you will get zero. They have explicitly mentioned reliability. Most students' favorite evaluation point is generalizability sample. So, no matter which study comes, they give some generalizability point. That is going to give you zero in this case. Now, when it comes to reliability for any study, what are 2 points that you can give? Some example of what was standardized in the study. As I told you, contextualization always has to be there. So, in this particular study, in Pozzulo et al., what was standardized? Give an example of that. And don't just say the procedure was standardized. Examples, concrete examples from the study. Second, how does this increase reliability? How does it make the results consistent? Which results are being made consistent? Something like that you have to comment on to get the second mark. So, anytime they ask you about reliability, examples of standardization are key, and then explaining how this is making the study reliable. Let's read the model answer. A strength is that the procedure was highly standardized, which makes it reliable. Okay, so far it is generic. It just says that the procedure is standardized. But then immediately the student gives examples. Every participant watched the same 4 videos of the target, and these were shown in random order for each person. 2 examples of standardization have been given here. 4 videos of the target, random order. These are two separate examples. In the Pozzulo et al. Study, in fact, there are many examples you can give, so there are no hard and fast rules of which examples you have to give. If you say it was a standard pointing task, each child had to consistently point at what they thought was the target. That also counts as standardization. If you mention anything about the lineups, that was standardized, like always there was a silhouette in the lineups, that also counts as standardization. So, any examples, as long as you give examples. So, because the examples are given and it is mentioned how this is increasing standardization and thereby increasing reliability, the candidate gets awarded 2 marks. Those were the questions from Pozzulo. Let's come to the questions from Milgram. So, from Milgram, they have asked us two features of the sample used in the study. Again, identify. These type of questions have been highly scoring in the May papers. Just memorizing and writing, that is all that is required. So you know that in Milgram all were males, all were volunteers, so those are given here as model answers. 2 points, 2 marks. Alternatively, there are many other points you could give. Their average age, I think it was between 20 to 55 years. 2 or 3 examples of which occupations they were coming from, which area they were coming from, like New Haven area, anything like that. No hard and fast rules again of which features you have to give. Let's look at the next part from Milgram. Outline one conclusion from this study. Conclusion type of questions always come for 2 marks, and they're very straightforward. Definitely, you must have learned a conclusion for every study, so you just have to describe that conclusion. Only the advice I can give here is many students confuse between results and conclusion. Don't give numerical facts or specific details comments which were found in this particular study. A conclusion is a larger theoretical generalization that we can draw from the results of the study. So make sure you're giving a conclusion, you're giving an interpretation of the results. Don't give the results by itself. Like here, for example, you can see the model answer says the study concluded that ordinary people are surprisingly obedient to authority figures and are willing to follow orders when it involves harming another person. If instead of this you write that 26 out of 40 people administered the full 450 volts of shock, that's very specific to this study. That instance of how people are being obedient applies to only milligram. That's not a larger inference that we can draw from this study. So it does not count as a conclusion, it counts as a result. If written in a conclusion answer, it gives you 0. Next, the model answer says that this shows situation can have much stronger influence on behavior than personal models. Frankly speaking, this part of the model answer is a little extra. Even the first sentence would have been enough because it contains 2 points. It talks about obedience in common ordinary people, and it talks about harming another person out of desire for obedience. So this part which says that situational factors have a stronger influence is unnecessary because after all it's only for 2 marks. It's an additional point. As I've told you earlier, examiners will not deduct your marks for writing something additional, but it kind of wastes your time. So they'll just mark this as extra and move ahead. So avoid giving this. Just save your time by giving only as much as is needed. As such, the point is correct. Let's look at the next question. I don't know why students struggle a lot with some of the application questions. Milgram is one of the studies in which they struggle with application. In Milgram, many times over so many years, because this is a study from the older syllabus also, this application question has come, but still students are struggling. Please go over the mark schemes. Even before your 2024 syllabus, this study was there, and many times this question was asked. So you'll find many ideas of application in the mark scheme. Whenever application is asked from Milgram, they mention that it must be ethical because students have a tendency of giving unethical applications. Like we can learn how to wear something like a lab coat to appear authoritative and give shocks to other people, get others to give shocks. Of course, that is no application of any study. Application means practical intervention. What practical intervention or treatment is enabled by this study? Giving shocks to someone, how would that be an intervention? Like, what problem is it helping to solve, or what real world issue is it helping you to deal with? It is creating issues, so it's creating problems. So, it does not make any sense to present that as an application. Also, as they have mentioned, must be ethical for the same reason that we cannot harm others by giving shocks in real life or by doing something destructive. So, make sure you're not giving any of that. Suggest is just like your outline, describe, like all these AO1 command terms are pretty interchangeable. Besides identify and name, which involve only like 1 2 word answers. These all require that you give complete sentences, you elaborate when you're writing. So, more helpful in these cases than looking at the command term because they are so similar, I feel, is looking at the marks. The marks are 2, so you have to give 2 points. That makes it easier. When it comes to Milgram, there are many possible applications, including whistleblowing is a very common one that employees should call out malpractices being done by their organizations in the media, in the press. Alternatively, using Milgram's study to educate people about the impact of destructive obedience and giving them examples of the defiant participants to encourage them also to defy destructive orders. These are very common applications. In this model answer, we see something unusual. So I think this will help you to think a little differently also. So this model answer is helpful in more ways than one. Here, an application is to improve safety in workplaces like factories or building sites. This is a very good way of beginning. Like, first, you just name, like, this is the application. So, the examiner will note a very clear application has been specified. Of course, to justify the 2 marks, further it has to be elaborated. But rather than going roundabout, first the candidate has directly mentioned that, see, this is an application. And then they explain it further. This is the best approach. So now exactly what does the candidate mean by improving safety in workplaces? They are explaining that more thoroughly. That managers and safety officers can wear high visibility jackets and helmets. Uniforms can be worn by them. High visibility is the key term because it should be prominent to the workers that they are in authority. So the uniform should be very visible. So that will make them more identifiable as authority figures and could be more likely to obey their safety instructions, which reduces accidents. So, very effectively worded, you can see how authority can be used for constructive rather than destructive obedience. That has been given as a suggestion here. So, for naming correctly and then explaining the idea exactly, like this is exactly what can be done with an example. This is what they can wear. They can wear these jackets and helmets. And this is the problem that will get solved because of this. This is the intervention that will be done. Accidents will reduce. Definitely full 2 months for this answer. So in application type of questions, they're being asked a lot recently. If they're coming for 2 marks, take a simple strategy, name the intervention that can be done. Think of it as problem solving. What problem in real world can this study help to solve? And then just explain it, preferably with an example. That exactly this is what can be done to solve this problem. Again, here, no doubt for 2 marks, it's a little elaborate, can be made a little more concise. I will agree. Like the student could have just skipped this part, for example, that in Milgram they wore uniforms to convey authority. For 2 marks, no need to point out the obvious. They could have just moved towards, in that situation, how authority can be displayed. Also, the part on more likely to obey instructions, this could be reduced. It could have just been said that they would appear as authority figures, which would reduce accidents. So there are some places where there could be reduction in word count, but I feel the clarity coming across from this example is very good. So here I feel it's justifiable to write at this length. Let's look at the next question. It's from a different study from Hassett et al. From Hassett et al., they're asking describe one result for toy preferences of the male monkeys. You must use data in your answer. Most of the time, students have a tendency to be aversive towards remembering numbers like facts or comments and all from the studies. But I hope you can see now how important it is because directly in the question that you must use data. Without using data for a 3 marks question, the maximum you would get is 2, not more than that. So if you really want to secure your marks, it's as easy as memorizing a few results. Trust me, a few readings of the course study is all you need to be able to memorize the result. It's not as difficult as it seems. So make sure for all the studies you do remember the key results. Describe again is an EO1 command term, as good as outline or explain. You just have to elaborate on the result. For a result question, it just means don't just give the numbers, don't just give the comment. So don't treat it like a like name or identify question. Explain in words what the results mean. Okay, this time the unusual thing is this question is for 3 marks. Otherwise, all along we have been seeing 2 marks questions. When it is for 3 marks, then make sure you're giving 3 points. 1 point definitely will be the data. In fact, you can make it 2 points of data if you want. So, two pieces of data, 2 marks. When they say you must use data, they haven't specified like how many pieces of data you have to give. So it's your strategy. You give 2 pieces of data and 1 line of explanation, or you give 1 piece of data and 2 lines of explanation. Just make sure that there are total 3 points. Again, by reading the answer, we will be able to understand better. Right now, it seems abstract. So let's look at the model answer. First, a very clear result is specified in words. The male monkey showed a clear preference for wheeled toys over plush toys. This is excellent wording that the candidate has given. Just see how the candidate not only specifies that there is a preference for wheel toys over which toys. As I was telling you in the previous answer, when it comes to experiments, the results are always comparative, relative, not absolute. So just saying they preferred wheel toys is an incomplete result. You definitely lose marks. Over which toys? Over plush toys. You always have to specify which is the other possibility in case of an experiment. Again, look at how the candidate directly addresses the question. Describe one result very clearly, like in no uncertain terms. They write out what is the result in the first answer. Then they support it by data because it's specified data must be used. So you can see next point, the data is specified. Of course, it has to be accurate. Most commonly, students will complain of, I cannot remember the decimal places. It's very difficult to remember 4.76. Can I write 5? You can write approximately 5. They do have a margin that they excuse, and usually the margin is zero point 0.5 up or down from the actual result. So here you can write approximately 5. Still, I would insist that you memorize up till the decimal places. You have to put in effort in learning psychology. So you will have to put the effort to memorize. Why I would insist on that is sometimes there have been inconsistencies in mark schemes. So just to be safe, in most mark schemes they allow a margin of plus or minus zero point 0.5, but sometimes they become too rigid and they want exactly 4.76. So just to be 100% sure that you can secure your marks, memorize it as 4.76. Now, there's one more piece of data that supports this result. The fact that 73% of the monkeys, in terms of frequency, like the wheel toys over plush toys. But here, the candidate strategy is to give one piece of data and just explain that. So, they haven't given another piece of data. Alternatively, you can give both this 4.76 minutes as well as 73%. And you can say both indicate that male monkeys preferred wheel toys over plush toy. That strategy is also good. As we will go increasingly into questions worth more marks, like 3 marks and more, you will realize there are multiple strategies of answering those questions. So take the model answers as only one of the ways of answering. Okay, so a piece of data has been given which is aligned with the result, and then further, this data is explained in words. That is significantly a longer time than what they played with plush toys. So that result which is given in numbers, here it is explained in words. It's a longer duration. So another mark for that. Now again, this I feel is extra. This is a little additional. They mention that toy preferences are similar to humans. Yes, it is something that is being indicated by the result, but I remember in the last answer I was giving you the distinction between result and conclusion. This, in my opinion, is more of a conclusion. So, where this candidate will get 3 marks is one, clearly putting a result in words, second, giving accurate supportive data for the result that they have put, and third, for describing that data in words. This is an additional point which will not get credit. It's an inference which is being drawn that okay, even monkeys behave the same way as humans do. So, that we can just keep aside, just ignore that part of the model answer. So, given that these 3 points are given correctly, the examiner will award 3 marks. Okay, so that is all that time permits me to cover for today. I will have to take up other parts to cover answers from question 5 onwards. I hope this lesson has been useful to you. If you have any suggestions which videos I should make, any feedback or any questions about the videos that I post on this channel, please do not contact me personally. I will not answer there. You will have to leave anything related to this channel and its videos in the comments box below. I do read all the comments and I answer whenever I get time. So make sure that your query will be answered, be assured of that. But make sure that you approach me through the right channel if you want answers. That's it for this video. Very soon I will upload part 2 as well. Thank you for watching.